Decades ago, I started growing food in my front and backyard, and I realized that my mission in life is to inspire and empower others to grow their own nutrient-dense, healthy organic food. Because of this, a lot of people have come to me with their gardening questions over the years, and that got me thinking, what if we put together a community that would help budding gardeners blossom? So I finally made the idea a reality with my Urban Farm U member program. Each month, your membership includes 3 live online events, a monthly class, a chit-chat with an expert, and a monthly coaching session, plus access to the experts on our member page and a significant discount on our signature courses. I'm deeply committed to transforming our global food system, and I do this by empowering you to grow your own food. The Urban Farm membership program is a simple way to get going. Please join me in transforming your food system today. To learn more, go to urbanfarmmembership.org or text membership to 33444. That's urbanfarmmembership.org or text membership to 33444.
You're listening to the Urban Farm Podcast, your partner in the Grow Your Own Food revolution. Whether you've just been introduced to urban farming or you're a lifelong advocate, we're sure you'll leave feeling more informed, equipped, and empowered to dig deeper into the soil of your local food economy. With you every step of the way, here's your host, Greg Peterson.
Today on the Urban Farm Podcast, we have Cecilia and Nedelco to talk about her experience with growing food organically. Cecilia is a Master Gardner, permaculturist, seed saver, a dowser, and an herbalist. Gardening has been a passion all of her life. She is the founder and owner of Cecilia's Garden and has transformed her residence into an urban farm utilizing the front and backyards. Her garden is highly productive, self-sufficient, a sanctuary specializing in flowers, herbs, vegetables, fruits, and eggs. All of her produce is grown beyond organic, which means she doesn't use any of the approved 244 organic chemicals one can use and still be called organic. Cecilia's produce is sold in local farmers markets, and she also supplies produce for a restaurant that supports locally grown veggies. The sense of community is strong in her neighborhood, with neighbors dropping in to pick up eggs, veggies, or fruit, or just for the opportunity to visit and enjoy the serenity of Cecilia's garden. Welcome to the show today, Cecilia.
Thank you for having me. Welcome.
Absolutely. So I shared a bit about you. Can you fill in the blanks for us and share more about the path you took to get where you're at now?
I sure can. I was so fortunate to be raised in Boise, Idaho. And it's quite a bit of a different environment than it is in
Phoenix,
Arizona.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And I've been in the Valley since 1978, which is, I started adding up the years, and that's been 38 years.
Wow.
As a child growing up, I was the only one in my family that was interested in gardening.
Uh-huh.
I was a weird child. My neighbors would pull weeds, and I'd go over and I'd actually help them pull weeds. I wish my kids would do that. They would no more get near a weed.
Right.
And then I had another neighbor that had an area where she did just like tomatoes and cucumbers. And I was always in her backyard during the summer helping her. And so that was kind of like my first introduction to growing your own food.
Uh-huh.
When I went up to or came down here to Arizona, I married and I had an opportunity to go to Austria.
Ooh.
So, as far as gardening, anybody that had a house, every single one of those homes had a garden.
Isn't that amazing how that happens?
And not only was it amazing, my husband at the time was raised in a kind of like a mountain city.
Uh-huh.
For the people that lived in apartments, they actually used the mountain. Mm-hmm. They use terrace methods, and they had like their little sheds, and they had their tools, and they canned. In Austria, they went to the grocery store on a daily basis because a lot of people did not have refrigerators. Uh-huh. They utilized and recycled and repurposed everything, nothing like it is here in the States. I was so fascinated. So when we got back up to Idaho, we were only up there for a little bit longer, and then we moved down to the valley. When we first came down here, we lived in a mobile home. I started a little garden back there. And then from there, we went ahead and moved into the house, and we tried to do gardening here. Completely different than the what I had learned when I was growing up, or what I was going to learn in the future. I was so fortunate to have a wonderful, wonderful garden mentor. Her name was Annette Weaver.
Oh, really?
Yes.
And, oh, my gosh. I've known Annette for years. She's amazing.
She is fantastic. I feel that I owe so much to her. I was so lucky to have her here the other day, and she goes, wow, you talk about the student outdoing the teacher.
Nice.
And she was the garden director of a community garden through a health food co-op in Tempe that unfortunately is no longer there. It was known as Gentle Strength.
Gentle Strength Co-op. I was a member, yes.
And with this, I learned so much. She was inspiring. And this was my first introduction to organic gardening. I learned how to compost. I learned about vermiculture. And for those that don't know what vermiculture is, that's when you use worms. We had it in a band, and as the liquid would come down to the bottom, we used the liquid as a fertilizer that we would go ahead and dilute. The worm castings we use as a fertilizer in the gardening beds. I learned about crop rotations. I learned about beneficial insects, farmers market. We had like watering crews, propagation crews, greenhouse crews. We had companion planting. And that was a new concept where you use vegetables, herbs, flowers, that would either help the plant, they like symbiotic, where they would help one another to grow or repel pests. Twice a year, we had an open house. We made presentations, and we had the public available. We would just have workshops available. Annette utilized a type of gardening method called biodynamic gardening. And so with this, it's just an area where you grow very intensively in a small space.
Nice.
Now, I remember I planted 100 tomato plants one day. I planted them wrong. I had to dig up every single one.
Oh, my gosh.
And I had to replant them. So she was not afraid to make corrections in case you had done something wrong.
So, after Gentle Strength Co-op, where did you go from there?
Because I had all of this wonderful on-hands learning experience, a lot different than reading it in a book. I was able to bring it home to my residents.
Nice.
And then I met you about 20 years ago.
Oh my gosh, has it been that long?
I was being very conservative there. I think it might have been longer.
Oh, wow.
But what you introduced into my life was permaculture.
Oh, yes.
And I took the class that was offered by you and Don Titmus about 7 years ago. And everything that I had learned over the years, I was able to incorporate it within my own residence.
Nice. So what is permaculture to you?
Permaculture is working with nature. Permaculture is understanding nature. Permaculture is a way of life that you support and enhance nature in all of her glory.
Nice.
With the permaculture principles, it was an opportunity to create a oasis in my yard. For those of you that are not familiar with Cecilia's garden, I used to have a tennis court in my backyard.
Oh my gosh, that's right. You did, didn't you?
I did. You talk about a heat island.
No kidding.
And I could only garden so far, and I had to dig it up to continue my vision for the future. Rainwater harvesting. Rain gutters put on my home. Rain gutters actually put on my chicken coop that I had built. I have the greenhouse.
Oh, nice.
I have an outdoor shower. Then the greenhouse, the water that I use inside, the pipe goes under and outside to a fig tree that waters.
Oh, nice.
My shower has a French drain that goes into a garden bed right next to it. My kitchen sink that I do my harvesting and washing my vegetables and preparing it for a farmer's market or for customers goes directly into the water and into the garden. My chicken coop even has a rainwater collecting system that goes directly into the part of the garden area too. Right. So it's like waste not. You learn to do multiple functions within the permaculture. An area that I have set up right now in the garden, I have a couple of sawhorses with fencing on it, and I have plants that I'm beginning for the fall season. I used to have the plants in the greenhouse. When it would drain on rocks. By moving it out into the garden, it drains directly into the garden bed.
Oh, interesting. Good job.
And I think one of the most exciting things, I have chickens. I love my chickens. You talk about free entertainment. You talk about personalities. They're so multifunctional. I, of course, sell their eggs, and their manure is mixed up with straw, leaves, grass, and I put that in my composting. Pest control. They're absolutely wonderful. And because I believe so much in organic gardening, and I believe in also making sure that my chickens also are provided organically grown products and foods. I have a girlfriend who's actually allergic to eggs, but she's not allergic to my eggs.
Amazing how that happens, isn't it?
It is. And the thing that I'm surprised about is that she's allergic to organic eggs that she actually gets in a store. And so it makes you wonder sometimes what people actually do. With my chickens, I learned when they lay an egg, they stand up to lay an egg. I actually have that on video.
Oh, interesting.
And it's just, there's something new, and it's been fun to share the chickens with my grandchildren.
Oh, yes.
How many eggs did we get today? How many white ones? How many brown ones? How many green ones?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just, the garden is a haven for the children.
Oh, yes. How old are they?
6 and 3.
Oh, my gosh. Perfect age for that. Perfect age for that.
Yeah, my granddaughter helps me wash vegetables. She'll collect chamomile flowers for me. She's quite a little helper.
Nice. So in your bio, you talk about Beyond Organic. Can you say more about that?
I sure can. Let me go ahead and get that clarified. The U.S. government allows 244 chemicals that a organic grower can use in their garden and still be considered organic.
Wow.
Yes. And because of that, people still have reactions. When I garden, there is no chemicals within a mile of my home.
Yeah.
I use manures. If I do have to use any type of a fertilizer, I do use a fish emulsion. I have 13 compost bins in my yard.
Whoa. 13?
13.
Oh, you rock.
I do not need to go to the gym.
How true is that?
And I throw everything into my compost, even when I lose a chicken. That chicken is processed through my compost.
Yeah.
I get blood meal. I get bone meal. I get feather meal. It's as it is meant to be in nature.
Yeah. Wow. How cool is that? So I was over at your place recently, and when we walked into the backyard, there's this very interesting distinguishing feature that you open up periodically to the public. Tell us about that and what you do with that.
Yes. I have been trying to join a farmer's market that's just within a couple of miles of my residence. they have a pretty full contingency of vendors at their location. I started opening up my own market. And so it's not like there's parking issues or people waiting around the cul-de-sac to come into. I've been fortunate to share the produce with my neighbors and anybody else that knows I do the food and have it available. So on the weekends, when the garden is in season, I have a market open. I also have a friend. Oh, it's wonderful. And I'm not alone in this market. I have a girlfriend that sells gluten-free products. I have another friend that I actually met through one of your classes. Tara Emery with Creme de la Ba Farm.
Oh, yes.
And she does goat's milk fudge.
Nice. I've had her fudge before. It's incredible.
I have to be careful not to buy it for customers maybe during the week because during the weekend it may be gone.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how good her fudge is. And then she also has cheeses available. And then I have another friend that does natural skincare.
Oh, wow.
So they're not with me every week during the season, but I do have their products available.
And you just have a little covered farm stand that's right inside your backyard. And
I
people
do.
come by?
I do.
Wow.
And if they need to get something during the week, by all means, I encourage them. Don't wait for Saturday. Text me, call me, and I'll make sure that whatever you need is available.
Yeah. Wow. How incredibly cool is that?
So if my garden gate is open, I'm in the back.
Wow. Cool. So what kind of products do you have available at your farm market?
Oh, it's almost like, what do I not have?
Okay.
The amount of vegetables that I have is absolutely wonderful. My specialty is different varieties of lettuces.
Oh, nice.
I have like 8 different types of romaine plants that I'm growing from seed right now. All different types of butter crunch lettuces, loose leaf lettuces. I even do an iceberg, and I do not like iceberg.
Well, I was going to say, wow.
No, it's a wonderful addition to the garden. I also make these wonderful smoothie bags, which is 3 different types of kales. 2 or 3 different types of spinaches, collard greens, and chard. And they're all mixed together in a bag, so you don't have to buy them separately. And people are able to use them for their smoothies. I go into the root crops, carrots, beets, turnips. The so-called fruit portion of the gardening would be like peas, because they love the cooler weather that's going to be coming in.
Oh, yes, of course.
Squashes, cucumbers, anything that I can get my hand on, I will. Fruit, when it's in season, will either be citrus or peaches, apples, apricots. And that is a personal weakness I am discovering is trees. And I do have to keep a tight rein or control on myself because it's just like I want to be able to provide so much to everybody.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well.
And then, of course, I have my eggs. Flowers are available.
Oh, yeah.
I have culinary herbs that are available. Just a lot of different types of vegetables and fruits.
Beautiful. And I love, I have a project I started here, and it's really just an article that I wrote about 5 years ago called the 10,000 Urban Farms Project. And that the thought process behind that was that what if Phoenix had 10,000 urban farms? And this is exactly what I was talking about when I dreamed this up. Is having each street having their own urban farm that is open periodically. So how cool is that? Good for you.
You know what's so exciting about this is the community that I have built up throughout the neighborhood. I have learned to put a sign on the end of my cul-de-sac.
Oh, yes.
And people go, I didn't know this was here. And so many people think you can't garden out here in the desert.
Oh, yeah.
And they go, and look what you've done here in this backyard. You've inspired me.
Nice. Nice. So what do like the neighbors right around you think about this?
Oh, they're wonderful. Let me tell you. I will give the neighbor that's right next to the chicken coop. I will give her free eggs. And now
there you go. Nice.
It's you know what? She's so funny. She goes, I know you work so hard to take care of your birds. I'm going to insist on paying for these.
Oh, wow.
And then she'll get the vegetables from me. The neighbors from 2 blocks over come on over. And the fun part about this is one day I was having a garage sale.
Yep.
And this woman came up with her daughters on her bike. She goes, I love your front yard, because I also farm in my front yard.
Yeah.
And she goes, oh, this is so nice. And I said, you want to see something nice? Follow me.
Oh, nice.
And so I brought her in the backyard, and now she's one of my best friends. And the funny thing about it is her husband and 2 of her sons have taken a permaculture from you and Dawn.
Really? Aside and apart from her coming to your house?
Yes.
Wow.
So she knew what I was doing and what I was incorporating into the area. Absolutely.
Nice. Nice. So I'm going to shift on you, and I'd like for you to talk about a time you failed, how you overcame that failure, and what you might have learned from it.
Gee, how much time do we have? And first of all, a failure to me is a learning opportunity.
Yeah, and that's the point of the question.
It is. It's such a stepping stone. I'm going to limit myself to 1 failure, actually.
Okay, good.
I was asked to make a presentation to a group of people.
Mm-hmm.
They were interested in container gardening in small spaces.
Uh-huh.
Well, I think I kind of overwhelmed them with all of my information that I had available to them. And I've learned, keep it simple. Gear it to the experience of your audience.
Yeah.
The thing that was perfect was that my boyfriend was there. Mm-hmm. And I was able to get constructive criticism in order to
From
improve.
Him?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Oh my gosh. You got a great boyfriend, it sounds like.
You have no idea. Yes, I do. And so he is always encouraging me and helping me in order to continue my growth in this area of permaculture and urban farming, urban homesteading.
Uh-huh.
And it's just wonderful to have that type of support system. But I learned to, keep it simple.
Yep.
They didn't want to know about 3 truckloads of manure that I brought into my backyard. They just wanted to know what they could do.
Yeah.
So, yes.
So interesting you should bring this up now. I'm going off here in about an hour and a half to give a lecture to a group of new people in the urban farming arena, and I will take this with me to heart and make sure that it is simplified. So thank you. Look at that. You're sharing with me and changing my life already.
And then one other area that I kind of consider a failure, your communication skills have to be right on the dot. When I have somebody helping me in the garden, I think that they know what they're doing.
Uh-huh.
But if they haven't done it before, and I can't fault them for not reading my mind,
right?
That when they plant a carrot seed, you don't do it an inch deep. And you need to make sure that you give them what your expectations are.
Otherwise, they're going to end up planting hundreds of tomatoes wrong.
Funny. Yes.
Yeah. So what do you consider your biggest success?
Biggest success outside of my children and grandchildren, it's my availability that I have people are able to access me. They are, as I said, they're so motivated and inspired by what they see in my garden. Success is learning to appreciate what you have in your life.
That is beautiful.
It's and it's not one particular thing. It's just count your blessings.
Yeah.
Be grateful and
Yeah.
show gratitude for what you have.
Beautiful. So what drives you?
Knowledge, experience, excitement. There is so much available as far as being able to show people what they can accomplish, especially in such a small area. Today, our most valuable asset with our homes is actually our backyards. And to be able to utilize that in such a way to enhance one's health.
Oh, beyond a doubt. Absolutely.
And we have to take control of our lives. I used to work for a doctor, and then I did work with an herbalist for 3 years as an intern. You have people that are coming in because of illnesses, and basically it's all due to imbalance in their lives. And it's the same thing in our backyards. We have to bring balance into it for harmony, for healing, for meditation.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, that's good. So I'm all about education, and I have to know, is there one book that has been influential for you in this process in your life?
This is a hard question. There are multiple books, but the one that I really like so much, it's a book called Lasagna Gardening.
Oh, yeah.
And it's by Patricia Lanza, Lanza. That's one of my very favorite.
Tell us about it.
She's easy to read. She gives pictures. I'm not one to learn from reading a book. I'm one to learn from on-hands experience.
Oh, yes.
Show me. I want to touch it.
Yeah.
I want to feel it. I want to smell it.
So what is lasagna gardening?
Lasagna gardening is a method of, like, you know, when you make fresh lasagna, you do it in layers.
Yep.
With gardening, you do the layers with, like, leaves, grass, straw, finished compost, because that acts like a activator, like you do sourdough pancakes and that type of stuff.
Yeah, beautiful.
And you build it to maybe anywhere from 18 to 24 inches tall. You let it break down a little bit. And after 4, maybe 6 months, you can actually plant directly into it after it begins to break down.
Yeah.
It's not as labor intensive as the compost bends.
Oh, yes. Yeah, exactly. It's a method of composting in place, is it not?
It is indeed.
Yeah.
And it helps. It's like a no digging, no tilling, no weeding, and I mean no kidding.
So what one final piece of advice you have for our listeners?
Find balance in your life. Take time to enjoy life. I have a tendency to work myself to death. My boyfriend will grab me and he goes, "Honey, take a deep breath." I do now take one day off from the garden and I spend it with my loved ones because it is so easy to become one-sided and too focused on one thing only.
Oh, yeah.
What is so satisfactory is after a day of working in the garden, I will find a place to sit my aching body down. I have an opportunity to look what I've created, and the sense of satisfaction
is huge.
that just it's something that's almost intangible. It's so much internal. But what I love is I close my eyes. I feel the warmth of the sun on my face. I listen for the wind. And what is so nice is to hear the chatter of all the different birds in the garden. And again, that's when I realized I am so blessed and I'm so grateful.
Oh, yeah.
And all the wonderful people that have come into my life to share my garden. It's my quiet time for reflection, and it opens my soul to the energy that surrounds me, and
Yeah.
it feeds me.
Wow. Wow. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the show and sharing your experience with us today, Cecilia. It's been a treat getting to chat with you.
Thank you.
So how can our listeners get a hold of you?
I am on Facebook. My Facebook garden page is Cecilia's, CECILIA''S garden.
Oh, perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, that's about as fancy of a name that I could come up with.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
But the road I live on, it's called Farmdale.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yes.
Beautiful. Well, that's it for today. Thanks for joining us on the Urban Farm Podcast.
Oh, thank you so much. I so enjoy this.
Absolutely. Decades ago, I started growing food in my front and backyard, and I realized that my mission in life is to inspire and empower others to grow their own nutrient-dense, healthy organic food. Because of this, a lot of people have come to me with their gardening questions over the years, and that got me thinking, what if we put together a community that would help budding gardeners blossom? So I finally made the idea a reality with my Urban Farm U member program. Each month, your membership includes 3 live online events, a monthly class, a chit-chat with an expert, and a monthly coaching session, plus access to the experts on our member page and a significant discount on our signature courses. I'm deeply committed to transforming our global food system, and I do this by empowering you to grow your own food. The Urban Farm Membership Program is a simple way to get going. Please join me in transforming your food system today. To learn more, go to urbanfarmmembership.org or text membership to 33444. That's urbanfarmmembership.org or text membership to 33444.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode of the Urban Farm Podcast. Remember to listen 3 days a week for tips, advice, and resources to help you on your journey with urban farming. You can find us on the web at urbanfarm.org or send us an email to podcast@urbanfarm.org. In the words of Vincent van Gogh, great things are done by a series of small things brought together. Be encouraged that with each lesson learned and skill developed, you are one step closer in the direction of your dreams.